it's Andrea from Make Believe Nails. How are you all? We're doing some watercolour Disney today. So I have got a extreme length stiletto tip there that I have done 2 coats of Innocence on, and I'm just going in with my Material Girl by the Get Nailed by Lauren McBride range. Okay, so they're your base colours, your background colours for this particular method of doing what I'm doing. I love Disney. I really do. I'm a proper Disney girl. And I think this is it can be really quick doing watercolour, because I used to do watercolour years ago when I was doing my GCSEs in art, and I hated watercolour because I wanted to do precise work, so I was using more acrylics. But in the last 12 months, I've really taken to using watercolours because I just think it's absolutely beautiful. The way that I've done these characters as well, I've put no facial features in, so it's the idea of, and fooling the head that you know who they are without them having any facial features. So that's just gone in the lamp, that stiletto tip with the Material Girl not in. So there you go, she's in there at the minute. I don't know what else to tell you. Well, right, okay. So I'm using a palette that I bought from an art shop, and I have loads of different watercolour and acrylic brushes. For this, I actually used a 0, and I used a number 3, and I used a stiffling brush as well. And then I used just some really cheap brushes to go in and suck up, any colour that I didn't want on there. So that's going to come out the lamp in 2 seconds. And here she is. Okay, so I've speeded this a bit up. So what I'm doing is, I've not freehand sketched anything on these nails. I'm using the watercolour to put the shapes in that I want. So just there, I'm going in with the face and the shoulders, and we're doing Jasmine from Aladdin on this one. I forgot to mention that, but I have done some more that I'll show you at the end. So yeah, so we're just going in doing the shoulders, because the shoulders are actually seen there, and I'm going in with a flat brush there just to push up the watercolour if it comes down, if I've not drained out my brush enough. So there you go, that's the idea of that. I'm not going in and doing any detail, I'm just putting in shapes with my watercolours. There we are. And that's her hair going in. So just putting the movement of the hair around the face and that. Then her little kind of boob tubey top. And also, when you mix your colours for your watercolours, I have a palette on the other side of my... I have a palette for mixing on the other side of the lid of my palette, if that makes sense. And I leave all the colours there that I've mixed, because I've mixed turquoises, skin tones, pinks, purples. And all you need to do is wet your brush and go back in, and it just reactivates it again. It's amazing. So what I'm doing now is, she has a scarf around her harem pants. So the harem pants are the blue, and the scarf over the top is the turquoisey. Okay, but I'm going to also put purple in there as well. So, because it's kind of, I think that's part of the theme of Aladdin, isn't it? Is purple and blue and turquoise. So that's a puffer sleeve going in there. And then I'm just putting a line of dark against her stomach. So there you go. I'm going in with a crown. All just, really sketchily done. So you kind of just go in with the flow, using your artistic kind of eye just to know where the shape should be. So obviously I'm using just an image for reference, which is, you should always go off a reference, because, well, I don't know about your mind, but my mind tells me things that, aren't there. And sometimes I've looked at stuff and gone, what on earth is that? So there, I'm doing some shading towards the left-hand side. So I've put some darker watercolour on there. And what I'm going to do is wet my brush shortly and be able to make like a contour. But I'm just layering and making the colours darker where I want them. And then I'll go in and remove bits when I'm ready. But you'll just see me drain out the brush, clean it, drain it, and then go on top of where I want to move stuff and actually push the brush down and just suck stuff away and leave the gaps and everything that I actually want. So I'm also making sure that I have some really kind of sketchy shading, you know, so it's not all just a light colour. There is some sketch to it, which I just love. I really, really do love this way of doing these characters. I think it's beautiful. So there you go, going back in the crown on a jewel there. The only thing that I didn't actually do was put the necklace around her neck, and I don't know why I didn't, but I just didn't. I just thought, well, you know, it was just something else to go on into that watercolour on her chest. So I'm going round again into earrings now, because she has big gold hoop earrings, so I've put those in lightly where I wanted them. I'm going back in on the hair, and then again going a bit darker, and there you go. That's where I'm going in and removing stuff with that brush. You know, when I'm not happy, just cleaning lines up, removing product to make a contour, adding water to the bottom to make it more watercolour-esque, and then adding and taking away colour. Because as I said, that purple that I wanted in there is going in there now. And it's just a lovely, lovely way. I mean, if you did this on a set and then use the colours from the sarong and the harem pants, it just looked beautiful. Maybe some crystal placement on there as well in those colours. It'd just be like, boom, it'd be lovely. So a Material Girl's really good for working on top of with watercolours. It makes it like a canvas. There you go. So what I'm going to do now is, I can never leave it alone. Just having just a sharpen up. There we go. With a smaller watercolour brush that is just for cleaning up that I use. I don't actually use it for painting per se. So I'm just putting that curve into her stomach. Now you can see it's popping now. I can see it. You know, I'm happy with that. With watercolours, you have to wait for them to dry before you use your matte top coat, which I'm using matte. Oh, this is my fun bit. Right, so this is a stiffling brush that I use for doing clouds and that on canvases. And what I'm doing is I'm going to flicker, because I want her to have like a splattered effect as well. I've seen it on loads of tattoos and stuff, and I just think that'll look really nice. Woo! Everywhere. Boof! Gone. What I am going to do is go in and I'm going to clean up round her face, because I actually only wanted that round her clothing and at the top. So what you'll see me do now is go in, try and remove what I didn't want. So there you go. I've got the most of the colour out of that, the wetness. And then I'm going to go in with my brush, just remove what I can, and then go back in slightly with skin colour, just to kind of, you know, even things back up again. Because I didn't ideally want it on her face. What I should have done was got a nail tip and put it over the top of her face and her abdomen and flicked then. But I'm just showing you how I've splattered my bottles, which, you know, I have an OCD shelf of all my Get Nailed by Lauren McBride products, so that was like a nightmare. First thing I did was clean the bottle and not my desk, all my hands, all the brush. So yeah, now we're going to go in with those skin colours. I'm using my detailing brush because I'm just wetting those up again. You've got to make them wet so you can move stuff about, and I just do that. And sometimes it can be a bit frightening as well using watercolours, because you're trying to do something, but you have to do it in stages. You can't just go in now with skin colour, put that on top of purple, because it'll just go a weird colour. So what you can see me there is just removing what I can with water, just water on my brush, and then going on top with the skin colour that I want to use. And then I'll suck everything up again that I want to, you know, leave a light side to a face and a dark side to a face. So that's what I'm doing there. Because it's the impression of the face, isn't it? It's not the details, you know, so that's kind of, you want the mind to go, oh yeah, that's a face. Oh yeah, she's looking that way. When there's no facial features to tell you. So there you go. And you know what? If it's frightening to think you're doing watercolours sometimes, or I used to be frightened of it, but once you jump in and sit down and actually work with your products and get used to them and know what you can and can't do and how to get to where you want to be, that's when, you know, it comes out the way you want it to. So here we go. I'm going back in with Material Girl now because she's dried and I'm happy with the face. So all that colour that I'd put on there's gone into, you know, the splattering. So when you're doing, what I found is I don't start from the top when I'm doing watercolours. I'll start from midway down. I cut the nail into thirds. So I'll start from midway down, then middle, then top to get an even coat on there. And I like using matte because it does blend out some colours into other colours. It has that effect. It's the same when you're doing sketches. It will do that there as well. So yeah, that's what she'd look like shiny, which is absolutely awesome anyway. Okay, and then she's going into the lamp. But you can do flowers like this, you know, and you can, all sorts, animals, trees, leaves, people. You know, I used a similar effect. Did I use those? I'm just trying to think now. Bear with me a second. I used acrylic paints, I think. Yeah, I did. I did a competition piece for Christmas where I placed 8th. Was it 8th or 9th? 9th, I think. I can't remember what I placed. That's really bad, isn't it? Mine's gone at the minute. And I used acrylic paint on that rather than watercolour. And I wish I'd done watercolour now because I think it would have just given it another dimension. You know, a lighter, wispier one. So I'm just showing the brushes that I actually used for this. And, you know, these aren't like top of the range expensive brushes. Because, you know, I replace my brushes every year. Anyway, so that was the stippling brush that I used, which was for spraying. And here she comes out the lamp now. So there you go. That's her. And I think she looks amazing. You know, some people might not like it, but I really, really do. I just wanted to show you a really quick way of doing it. And I've done it with other characters. Look. So there they go. So thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.